Well, hey, everybody, if you've been watching, the Danielle Redlick verdict is in, and it's not guilty. Let's go back for a moment and watch my appearance on court TV at the beginning of this trial. I'm sitting with a defense attorney, and together we agree this one is going to be a tall mountain to climb. Let's watch.
Was it self-defense or was it murder? What we just saw were little bits of the opening statements this morning in the brand new trial we're bringing you here live on Court TV, the kitchen knife murder trial. I'm Julie Grant, your midday host. Court is on a lunch break. The defendant on this one is Danielle Redlick. She is accused of murdering her estranged husband, Michael Redlick. I want to bring in for some analysis on these opening statements we just saw in the studio, attorney Josh Schiffer. He practices criminal defense work in Atlanta, and joining us from Washington, D.C., the host of the Profiling Evil podcast and retired police commander Mike King. Josh Schiffer, in your mind, who was more effective this morning in the advocacy pleas?
You know, I think the state really did a great job laying out and trying to keep this argument as a little bit more discreet and closing off some of the avenues that we're all pretty certain the defense is going to go down. Now, obviously, we only had limited information when the state presented. Now we know a lot more about how the defense looks to be preparing with this self-defense, which is an affirmative defense. It's going to require a lot of testimony. This case just got a lot more interesting.
Commander King, in all your years, have you ever heard of somebody doing something like that?
Of stabbing themselves? Absolutely. I mean, when you're dealing with mental health issues, and I'm really looking forward, Julie, I don't know how you pick these cases, but
I don't either, Commander.
You are right, and I'm so excited to have Josh on with us today to get his perspective as a defense attorney, because I think this is a pretty tall mountain to scale right now. I thought the prosecution did a great job this morning starting off, but then it's been kind of interesting watching things unfold, and absolutely this was probably the only move that they could make. I would suspect that her physical evidence is on the murder weapon, that it's going to be pretty hard to say he did this himself based on the direction that the knife blade entered and some other forensics that will come out. But it might be that self-defense is the only way to go. But I'll tell you, there is a big, tall mountain called 11 hours that I'm still scratching my head over.
Oh, yeah, and Commander's referencing the time that passed from when the incident is alleged to have occurred till the time the defendant called 911. Oh, I can't even imagine going to see that crime scene. Josh Schiffer, tell me, the fact that this defendant tried to clean up the scene, according to prosecutors, we got the bucket, their photographic evidence of what she tried to do. Does that say to you consciousness of guilt?
All the actions of someone can be interpreted and analyzed by law enforcement. And law enforcement walks in, and I know it's hard for some people to understand, they really are keeping an open mind. They understand that if they're going to do their job, they've got to really consider everything when they're doing a scene assessment. But then after walking into a scene, like Commander was just saying, 11 hours, this body, how you eliminate all the other defenses to get to self-defense is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. This scene setting that they're doing now, that's locking it all together, and they're going to force her to craft the narrative of some sort of affirmative defense. You can't go kill someone after the fact and claim self-defense. It's very much a heat of the passion moment. But back to your original question, the cleaning up.
It's a bad fact, isn't it?
There better be a better explanation for I'm a neat freak. No, it's blood on the floor. And it was well described by that officer.
Right, Josh. And Commander King, that cleaning up was happening during that 11-hour time period that troubles you so much. Tell me, you know, when it comes to the evidence that was really jumping out at you this morning, and we know that opening statements are not evidence, but we got a hint at the evidence we're going to be seeing coming in, some of which coming in through the testimony of these first couple of witnesses. What are the biggest things to you that are problematic for Danielle Redlick?
I think the forensics are going to play a huge role in this as far as the direction that knife blade enters the body. What is her strong hand? What is her weak hand? Do the fingerprints, if there are fingerprints on the knife, represent any of those pieces of evidence and come together in helping paint a picture? And I believe that the forensic folks are going to be able to paint a real clear picture of how that wound occurred, what led up to it, the anger involved. That's pretty evident, the anger that's involved, and we're going to learn more and more about that. But as we look at the forms of evidence that are starting to pour in here, we're seeing forensic evidence right off the bat. I mean, they came out of the chute strong with forensic evidence. We're seeing a lot of disorganization, which could play in her favor in reality. Josh talked about the cleaning up that was going on, and Julie, you talked about this 5-gallon bucket. If you had your wits about you, you'd be destroying evidence. There wouldn't be a pile of towels with blood on it, or a bucket of water filled with probably what's going to be proven forensically to have blood in there. You wouldn't have knives still laying on the floor. Those kinds of things are going to show disorganization and this lack of thought and planning. This, I agree, was probably something that just spun out of control and happened. And in the heat of that moment, this horrible event occurred. But we can't discount the behaviors here. And as we learn more about the things that were going on with the dating app, with previous divorce attempts and other kinds of things, this thing's going to come together in a huge way.
Yeah, we have so much more to dig into with this one. Lots of layers to this story, and it's so sad these two had children together, and now these poor children are left with this situation without a dad, and with mom potentially looking at getting locked up for the rest of her life if she's convicted. Commander King, Attorney Josh Schiffer, thank you both for being here. More questions
Well, as
coming
you can
your way.
see, that was a big challenge, but the defense rose to the occasion. Whether it was sympathy or something big that happened with the jury, I don't know. But today, the finding came in of not guilty. Let's watch Danielle's reaction as the verdict is read.
State of Florida versus Danielle Justine Redlick. Verdict as to count 1. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. So say we all. Signed, juror badge number 283, 4%. Special finding, this page was left blank. Verdict as to count 2. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of tampering with physical evidence as charged in the information. So say we all. Signed, juror badge number 283, 4%, dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, on the 17th day of June, 2022.
And would you please poll the jury?
Well, thanks for tuning in to Profiling Evil. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll catch up on more cases next week with the Crime Report. We'll see you soon at the next crime scene.